I know I've been bad, I should have uploaded more often, but recently stuff has been really good, really amazing, really exciting. I entered the Illamasqua Makeup Awards and I won, which was incredible. I also did Phil Dell's makeup for her London show as well, and I'm also finally releasing an EP around Christmas. Now, I know a lot of you have been asking me about Phoenix. I am still with Phoenix. We are still making music. But Malumai is a completely different sound. It's a completely different direction as well, and it means that I just have more music. I need to be making stuff. Doesn't matter if it's art, if it's music, if it's makeup. I just need to be doing things 24/7, and I wasn't getting anywhere near enough music in my life. And Malumai is a very different style to Phoenix as well. And you're going to love it. I can't even go into how excited I am about it. I'm in the studio on Thursday, so by the time I upload that will be last Thursday. We had a talk with a producer a few weeks ago. He's going to be making the whole EP, Lullaby. The EP is called Lullaby, it's not. The name of the band is Malumai. The EP and possibly the single is called Lullaby. We're pretty sure that that's going to be it. But oh my gosh, if you could see what I see in my head for how this is going to look. We're going, the Lullaby music video that we have planned out is going to be insane. There's so much stuff I need to make, and I'm hoping that whatever I've missed on this channel the last few weeks I can make up for, because just for the Lullaby music video I'm going to need to make a fairy throne, I'm going to need to make a fairy queen headdress, a crown, wings, I need to make a whole load of elf ear tips, I'm going to need to make some fawn horns, I'm going to need to do creative makeup for all of the little characters that are going to be in there. There's also a song called Snow, which the makeup is going to look so good, and this is what I always did my makeup for. It was for things like this, so as soon as it's out I can't even go, I'm excited basically, I'm excited, and I'm going to try and not talk too much about it because I could talk for hours about this, but it's going to be good. So if you want to keep updated with that, I have a link to the Malumai Twitter and the Instagram, but of course you can follow me on Twitter or Sarah and we'll be keeping you updated on that. So yeah, I'm excited about that, but today I'm going to try and not talk about that too much, and I'm going to show you my monthly favourites. As usual, it's going to be pretty much art based. There isn't much makeup because I don't buy much makeup. I don't need makeup for myself personally. I have my favourite things that I stick to, so I have the Besame lipsticks, which I love, the retro ones, and the eyeliner. Then I have my Hakuhodo brushes, which I won in a competition a few years ago, but that's my own personal stash. You could fit my own personal makeup kit in a little box about this big. But everything else, it's either for my videos or it's for makeup that I do for people on shows or on photo shoots, so I don't really buy that much makeup. So yeah, it's pretty much art based. I don't like plastic palettes. They're really easy to knock, they spill everywhere, and I don't like the feel of plastic. I hate plastic. So I got myself a really nice ceramic painting dish, and I used this in my elf ear tutorial to hold the latex, and I really like using this for my watercolours because I can fill water in the inside and then mix all my all my colours on the different trays. I was tempted to get a bigger tray, but for the moment I don't need it, so I'm going to wait, and then maybe in a year or two, once I'm doing bigger projects and stuff like that, I'll get to use it. Oh, another little thing I forgot to mention is, I don't know, you've heard the music, I've used it in these videos so many times, Amarante. I'll be doing the cover for their next album. It's going to be beautiful, it's going to take so long. I'm not going to talk too much about it because I don't want to give it away, but hopefully I will have a video about it, but at the very least I'll have a blog post. But yeah, this was the first thing in my monthly favourites. I love this little thing, it's so good for makeup, it's also good for art as well. So yeah, that's number one on my favourites this month. The next thing is something I don't often get, and it is a collection, and it's a bit messy for the moment, so sorry. It's a collection of acrylic paint tubes, and normally for acrylic paint I get massive tubes. I get tubes which are about, what, this big? Because I tend to paint quite large pieces, but recently I've been painting smaller little pieces. And I just wanted small little tubes of colour, so I got these, and I'll show you what it's like inside. Yeah, it's just a nice little selection of acrylic paints, And all my acrylic paint, I always get them from the Works. I get a lot of my art supplies from the Works, so here's another little one that I got for this month. I got this for Filda when I was going to do her makeup at the London show. I made a really beautiful butterfly headband for her, and I was kind of hoping that I could use this, but then it was just too much. So what's probably going to happen is I'll be using this for Malumai. I've already done Sarah's promo shots for our Twitter, for anything else like that. I did a really beautiful gold glitter eye for her. You can see it on the Twitter header. I did gold glitter all over the top here, and I did pink glitter on her lashes. It wasn't actually on the skin, it was just on the lashes, so that when she kind of closed her eyes you just get this lovely twinkle thing going on. But I'm really hoping that I get to use the face lace in one of our music videos. I'm not sure, I'm hoping that we can use it for one of the songs, which is called Go. But we'll see. This I'm going to be sitting on until the ideal project comes up. But something that made me think of is this packaging makes me think of the Z palettes. So once I use this, I'm wondering if I won't be able to use it like a Z palette, but we'll see. This was another one of my monthly favourites. The next thing is something that I got with this. I got myself this beautiful bracelet, and it works really nicely with this bracelet, this ring that I think I showed in one of my favourite videos. I got this one off eBay, and I got this one from H&M, and I love it because it looks a little bit Byzantine, I think, and it works really nicely with my ring, and I love anything that looks like this. I really like kind of coppery looking colours. I didn't used to like gold. I'm still used to saying that I hate gold, but I actually don't, because I also have a gold necklace from H&M, and it's just a simple little bar necklace, and obviously I have gold earrings, and I seem to be doing a lot of gold today, so I can't say that I hate gold anymore. I don't know what's wrong with me. I hated gold for years, and recently I've just been a little gold obsessed. But at the same time I got this mask, which was from H&M as well, and it's just a kind of plain velvet mask, but it's too plain and I need to decorate it. And we're either going to use this for the Lullaby music video, or we're going to be using it for one of the songs we have written for the album, which is loosely planned for early, well, not early next year, late kind of summer next year. And one of the music videos in particular will definitely involve masquerade masks. So I'm going to probably do a blog post on how I decorate this. I'm imagining something which looks like cracked stone with little gold specks on it, and then obviously some rhinestones. But that's another one of my monthly favourites. Next we have art books, which you can never have enough of, and I have a lot of digital art books, and something that I saw and ended up getting was this. It's Fantasy 3, but it's just hand-drawn fantasy illustrations. I love books like this. They can be hit and miss, because with any book like this, which is a selection of artists and pieces, sometimes it can veer more on the style that you don't like, and that has been something that has happened to me in the past, but it wasn't really the case with this. I was really lucky this month, and all the books I got, I absolutely loved every single one of them. It wasn't where I only like 20%. I love all these books. They're incredible. I mean, look at this! It's a monkey playing the PlayStation. How cute is that? Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a sucker for anything cute. Anything owls, monkeys, anything with like big eyes. It's just so cute. Yeah, just beautiful hand-drawn fantasy art, and they mention their favourite mediums. And another thing that I really like with these books is that sometimes you see a piece from an artist that you didn't know about, and then you go search for them online, and then you find their website, and then you find their blog, and they'll do some of the behind the scenes of their stuff and show you what they used, and it's just a doorway to more inspiration. So yeah, that's another beautiful addition to my library. The next one I actually got because it was part of a deal with the first book, and I didn't know this artist, and I had a quick flick through his stuff on Amazon, and it looked interesting. And it's called The Art of Paul Bonnet, and on the front it looks kind of quite dark. It makes me think of The Labyrinth, but this guy's got such an unusual style. It's the colours that he uses. They're really unusual, and you can kind of see what I mean here. I mean, it's obviously fantasy, but the colours, especially the blues, reds, those kind of colours, he uses them in a way that I haven't seen many fantasy artists use. Most fantasy artists, they tend to use a lot of browns, blacks, and it's very dark colour-wise. But this guy uses very, very bright colours. There's one in particular that I need to find because it just shows you exactly what I mean. This isn't it, but again, You see what I mean? He really likes his greens and his oranges and reds. I mean, red is quite a dominant colour in fantasy art, but I haven't seen it used this way. And the features of all his characters are very exaggerated. They're slightly cartoonish, but they're obviously not for kids. If you go through some of these drawings, they are not for kids, but it's fantasy, it's humorous, it's a really unusual style. And this one in particular made me think of James Gurney, who's one of my favourite artists along with Drew Struzan. And he also does a few sculptures which are just so beautiful. I mean, look at that. That is a handmade sculpture which is just mind-blowing. Yeah, so this is another beautiful addition to my collection of books, and this is my personal favourite. I love looking at people's sketches. I get my best ideas normally from sketches, because it just lets you have a look at it and imagine how it would look. But yeah. Oh, and one thing I really like is that there's even a few pictures of his studio at the very back, and I love seeing people's studios. I love seeing how they arrange their art supplies, what they use, what are their favourite mediums. And I love the kind of organised chaos of most artists' workspace. This one is not surprising that I got it. I went to see How to Train Your Dragon, was it a month or two ago? Number 2, and I love number 1. It's probably my favourite film. I have watched that film at least 100 times, I'm not even exaggerating. And I have the first book of artwork. I went to see the second film and it just blew my mind. I was expecting it to be good, but I didn't expect it to be better than the first film. For me, that film was better than the first, which never happens. Most of the time when I go to see number 2 of any series, I expect it to be bad normally, or I see it for nostalgia. I don't expect it to surpass the first one, and it did. And I came out, I went on Amazon and I went and bought this book, and it's the artwork of How to Train Your Dragon 2, and exactly like the first one, it's just beautiful. I mean, you have the digital renderings that they did as well, you also have some of the hand-drawn stuff, and it's quite a nice balance, because sometimes with books like this there's a little bit of favoritism going on with the digital stuff. I mean, obviously it's an animation, so that is understandable, but I really love seeing people's hand-drawn art, and I love seeing artists go through the process and all the different design ideas that they had, which one eventually made the cut. It's just beautiful, it's so beautiful, and I love going through books like this because it makes me appreciate the film even more. I love animations just because you can watch them again and again and again, and so much work has gone into every little detail of the film that, you know, one viewing I'll look at the costume design, the next viewing I'll look at the lighting and the different scenes, I'll look at the motion of all the creatures, you know, how did they get it to look so realistic, what makes it look like something that's alive and not something which is made in a computer. That's why, one of the many reasons why I love looking at digital art, because so much artwork and attention has gone into every little piece of it. So yeah, that's the last of my books for this monthly favourites, but it's another one of my favourites obviously. The last 2 things are also art supplies. I went to Hobbycraft I think about a month ago. Was it a month ago? I don't know, but I went to Hobbycraft because I wanted to get some a very particular kind of paper for the Illamasqua Awards, because you had to do a mood board for your design, explaining your design and all that, and I didn't really want to get a sketchbook. I wanted a sketchbook, but I wanted a big one. I wanted one which was it's not A4, A3, but they didn't sell sketchbooks that size, and even if they did, it had multiple pages, and I only really wanted about 6 pages, so I went to get a very particular kind of paper so that I could hand stitch it and make my own booklet. And while I was there, I picked up these, and they're sculpting tools, and they are very good for sculpting, and that's what they're traditionally meant for, but I love these for blending, especially the ones with the very fine tips like this, because for when you're doing things like lips, because lips are a pain in the neck to draw, a lot of people outline lips, and unless it's someone who's wearing lipstick, that's a bit of a mistake, because it isn't outlined. It's not like the face where there is an outline. It's lips, it's a rise and a fall in the face, and it's very difficult to do that, and you need to do it with a combination of shading and lines. And I love these because they're very good for getting those lines that people have on the lips, or doing really, really, really delicate shading, especially around the eyes. Freckles as well, they're really good for freckles. And I got them in varying sizes and varying shapes. I like this one for eyelashes. These ones are quite good for doing things like around the nose, ears, and this one, which is slightly larger, and I have a larger one somewhere else. I like this one for hair and blending the lines in the hair. So I got this collection of sculpting tools from Hobbycraft. I do need to do a video about how to use these, but it's just trying to find time for everything really, because if I'm going to do something I want to do it properly. And I haven't had time to film a tutorial where I can show very different methods of shading, because there's so many different ways. You can use your fingers, you can use cotton buds, you can use these, you can use makeup brushes, you can also use tissues, you can also use paper tortillons. There's so many different ways to do it, and I want to do a really comprehensive video showing all the different methods, but I just need to take the time, sit down, film it right, get the correct lighting. So I will do it, I just need to find the time to get around to doing it. That was another little addition to my art collection. And the last thing, which I was a little bit gutted about, because I don't know if you can see, but the top colour was broken when it arrived. And these are pan pastels, and I've used these for my drawings of Astrid, of Clad, and you can see how I use these. I'll have a link down in the description box for the drawing that I showed how to use these. And I use these as essentially highlighters, art-wise, highlighters and contouring, because I don't like using just pastels, but I do love using them as highlights, as adding a little highlight in the eye, highlights on the cheeks, shading. It's a very similar method to applying makeup really. And there's one character, I'm trying to draw all the characters from my book Outsider. I've done Clad, I've done Astrid, I also kind of did Scad, but I haven't finished him. I need to give him a beard, I need to kind of flesh out how his character looks a little bit more, because the first drawing that I did of him was when I was writing the first few chapters of the book, and obviously now I've got a much clearer image. But one of the characters which was so nearly in the first book was a character called Ragnar, and I wrote her in, and then I realised she didn't work. It felt like her character was shoehorned in, so I thought no, keep her, she comes in a lot more naturally in the second book. And Ragnar is one of those characters I love writing about. I'm not going to go into her too much because I want you to read the second book, and I don't want to spoil the surprise for you. The first drawing I did with Ragnar, I didn't like it because I didn't have colours which were right for her skin tone. I was using colours which would work for someone with pale skin, but on anyone who had darker skin it made the skin look very flat and ashy, so I needed to get some darker pan pastels. And it's really good because it means that I can pretty much draw any skin tone that I want. There's so mid-tone brown. There's also, if I can open it because it's also jammed previously, this one's far too red for any skin tone really. I could use it if it was someone in the sun and they'd been a little bit sunburnt, that would work, but for a kind of overall skin tone it's far too red. But it will work very good as a highlighter, and there's also on quite a few landscapes I can use this as well, especially for some of the landscapes that I'm going to try and draw for the second book, like the Wyvern Plains. That I can't wait to do. I'll at the very least do digital art of that. Then I have a light brown. I wasn't happy with the first drawing. It was alright, but her skin wasn't dark enough. That was something I was very sure of, that Ragnar was one of the few characters that when I started writing about her I had such a clear image in my head of how she looked. I wanted her to have very beautiful dark black skin, and I just couldn't get her skin dark enough with what I had. This is closer to the skin tone I want Ragnar to have, and the good thing is that they gave me two very dark browns, one which is more bluey undertoned and one which is more red undertoned. The funny thing is that these are actually for decorating model train tracks, and I couldn't find a collection that had a good variation of colours, but this was perfect. One thing I'm going to try is the top one, as you can see, was broken, which I wasn't too gutted about because it's very green undertone, and unless you're dead or you're a zombie, no one's skin looks like this, so it wasn't a colour that I absolutely needed. But I think I'm going to try the same method that I used to fix broken eyeshadows. The only thing I'm worried about is that it might change the consistency of the pan pastel, but either way I'll try and blog about it and see if I can fix it, and then if it does or doesn't work then you'll know. But that is the last thing in my monthly favourite. I hope you liked it. I can't wait to share all the stuff from Illumine with you. It's going to be incredible. I'm hoping that after Christmas I'll be able to share a few things from Outsider 2, which I'm probably going to call Defiance. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what that one's going to be called. Because I've more or less figured out the title for the next 3 books, because Outsider is planned out for 4 books. I've planned out what every character does, what every chapter what happens in each chapter. So it's all plotted out, and every day I just sit down and I set myself to do a certain amount of words, and then on weekends I go back over what I've done and then clean out everything where I'm like, okay, that needs improving on, or that needs to be cut out completely, and just, yeah, so there's a lot of things to do. Very busy, but it's exciting. This is what I want to do, and it's going to be good, you know. I've worked hard on it, I'm doing my best, so we'll see how it goes, and I will hopefully have a new video for you soon, and I will at some point have an EP to share with you, and a whole load of music and music videos and behind the scenes and DIY videos showing you how I made the props, like the horns and the fairy wings and the fairy queen crown, and yeah, it's going to be good, and I'm going to try not to get too excited, but I hope you like this video. I will have a new video for you soon, hopefully, and I will see you next week. It's true.